Look at this cool looking strap. Isn't it beautiful? So I was inspired by this YouTube short I watched a couple of days ago from Catherine Sews, where she teaches how to do a dual tone strap. And her method looked interesting to me. Now, I have to say, I am not an affiliate to Catherine Sews, or this is not a sponsor video. She doesn't even know I'm making this video. The link to her short is down in the description of this video, okay? But in her video, she teaches how to make this cute dual tone strap using two different types of materials where the webbing is showing on the outside. But what caught my attention was the method that she used to make the strap. So I decided to give it a try. However, in the process of making the strap, I made several silly mistakes. And I have to say, completely user error. That has nothing to do with her video and the way she teaches. And I'm thinking, why am I making these mistakes? It's not like I have never made a strap. In fact, here's a video where I show how to make a dual tone strap. And here's another video where I show 3 different methods of making back straps. So what's the problem? But I went ahead and decided to share the mistakes that I made with you. And not only the mistakes, but how I was able to fix them. Because after all, we all make mistakes. We all need to learn how to fix the mistakes we make. And I ended up with a pretty cool looking strap. So why not? And I have to say, this is not a duplicate or a prop. This is the strap I made in this video. And if you stick around till the end, I will show you a major mistake I made. One of those mistakes that even a beginner bag maker knows not to do. But I made it and I fixed it. So stick around till the end to see how I did that. If you're new here, I'm Ali. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I show sewing tips and tutorials so that you and I can make beautiful things together. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm so glad you're back. Let's get started. This is what I will use to make this strap. I have home decor fabric here. I have 2 strips of fabric. They're 30.5 inches long each. And that's because I'm going to have a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I will be sewing right there, sewing them together. And the strips of fabric are 2 3/4 inches wide. So home decor. And I have here my weft woven interfacing for my fabric. I have this 1-inch nylon webbing. You can use cotton polyester webbing, 1 inch though. That's, I guess, the right size. And a lighter so that you can burn the edges when you cut your webbing. The heat and bond. This one is 5/8 of an inch wide and 15.9 millimeters. And this is what we're going to use to join the webbing to the home decor fabric. A hot iron, definitely will need that. And a wool mat or iron board. This is optional, but I highly recommend it because it just makes your life so much easier. Get yourself some starch. This is the heavy finish, almost crisp. I probably wouldn't get the soft, I'll be honest with you. I probably, heavy finish is always what I use. Okay, so let's get started. Strap needs to have some sort of structure. And the woven interfacing helps with that. It helps give the fabric a little bit of stiffness. If your fabric stretches a little bit, the woven interfacing will prevent that from happening. And if your fabric frays easily, like home decor does, like this, adding woven interfacing will stop the fraying. Okay? Consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you have learned something today. After that is done, I'm going to join them here at 1/2 inch seam allowance. And let's get started with putting the strap together. At this point, we're going to mark the center of your strip of fabric here. And I like to keep my fabric stiff as much as I can. Just make it easier for me. So I'm going to spray a little bit. And I'm going to use my hot iron to mark the center crease. And then I'm going to take my two long edges and fold them towards the center. And also use the hot iron to mark that fold. And here is when the starch will really become very handy, because if I didn't have the starch, the fabric will be opening like it is right now here. So having to deal with the fabric and then adding the Ultra Bond. I am not an expert at managing or using this product, so I don't feel like fighting with it. So that's why I figure if I get my fabric flat and stiff right there, so it doesn't move, it will make it easier for me to apply my heat and bond now here in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the entire strip of fabric here that I have now. And then we'll add the heat and bond. So after I folded the fabric, I realized that my webbing is 1 inch wide, right? And if when I place my webbing on top of the folded fabric, I was gonna have a lot of space, and my hardware is 1 inch wide. So I had to fold the fabric a little more to make it 1 1/4 inches. And you know, once I put it through the hardware, if it's a little bit wrinkled, it's fine. But just take a note of that. So maybe you cut your fabric, instead of 2 3/4, maybe 2.5 inches. Okay. Now we're going to take our heat and bond. Okay. Tape up, and then you're going to place it right over the raw edges of your fabric, and then you iron it, right? Is that how you do it? So we place it right there, and it says to hold it for 2 seconds and keep going. As you can see here, I added the heat and bond after folding the straps. And in her instructions, she actually puts the heat and bond down the center, and then she folds the edges to the center, the long edges to the center, and then presses the fabric that way. I didn't do that. I don't know if that had anything to do with the fact that you're gonna see in a little bit that it didn't really work. If I needed to do that step before, I don't know, but I pretty much missed that whole step. So I wanted to, show you right now. Okay, so now you're going to take your webbing and the lighter, and you're going to burn that edge, and just burn it as much as you can. You do not want this to fray with the wear and tear. Next step is to peel the heat and bond off, peel it off, and place the webbing on top of that sticky side. The one reason that I couldn't use also the heat and bond on my webbing is because my webbing is a nylon webbing, not cotton. I couldn't press it. What was I thinking? Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, if press heat and bond. So that was silly of me. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is get my faithful double-sided tape. I always end up using my double-sided tape. So you can either apply the double-sided tape to the fabric strap or to the webbing and just pretty much glue it or tape it down the center. I really thought this method was going to work for me better, but I don't know what I did wrong. Obviously, I did something wrong. But the whole idea was that I was going to be able to just tape this on top of the fabric after I peel it off, because it was going to be sticky, and then just stitch it together. But it did not work. So that doesn't mean I'm not gonna give it another try some other time, but hey, I wanted to show you. And I'm not saying that her method doesn't work, because it obviously worked. I saw it on her video. It might be my heat and bond. I don't know. Maybe it's old. I just purchased it though. I just went to the store, so I don't know why it's doing that. But I like the look. I like the look. And the heat and bond definitely is keeping, you know, the fabric in place there. Nice. So now we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance from the nylon webbing edge on both sides. Okay, so this video is the real deal. Okay, I tell you, hardly any edits. After I made the strap, and look, my stitch together looks nice, right? Beautiful. I realized I have raw edges here on my fabric. And I guess I'm so used to working with faux leather vinyl, you know, that I forgot to fold this. So you ideally you cut the strip of fabric a little bit longer, and then you fold it twice so that you cover the raw edges. We're not gonna do that now, unfortunately, because obviously it's already done. So at this point, you can either add a piece of fabric like what you would do if you have a zipper end, add end caps if you have any, or simply seal the fabric with fabric glue. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to take a little bit of fabric glue, and I put some fabric glue on this side, and I cut the fabric with my pinking shears to prevent it from fraying, and it's interfaced, so that should also help with the fraying. But if that doesn't help, just get yourself some fabric glue.
It's not the best, but it's gonna have to do for now because I really do not want to take all this apart and start all over.
I'm happy with the results after all. If you want to see more of videos on how to make straps, they're here available. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.